Good morning, and welcome to the Lone Star Weekly Business Hour. Your host, Rick Schissler, is a Silver Fox advisor who personally has over 40 years of experience as a serial entrepreneur. So sit back, pull out your pad and pencil, and get ready to take notes as we join Rick Schissler in his Lone Star Weekly Business Hour.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us for this edition of the Weekly Business Hour. This is Rick Schissler, your Silver Fox advisor and your host for the Weekly Business Hour. We've got a great show lined up for you today. We'll start with our thought for the week. How far have you come? Then a quick check-in with Dick on the business of Lone Star. And Cherie Clark-Moore, a local entrepreneur and the founder of Brainchild Parenting, will join us in the studio to talk about her business. And to close out the show, my Silver Fox advisor tip of the week will consider the perfect marketing strategy. So sit back, get ready, pull out your pad and pen, and let's get started with today's show. First of all, remember, if you have a comment or a question during the show or even after the show, please email it to me. My email address, rick@irlonestar.com. Thought for the week, how far have you come? When was the last time, maybe any time, that you've ever taken time to think about how far you've come in your business? This is part of the process of taking a little time off from running your business and sitting back and say, gosh, look what I've done. Whether it's been a week, a month, a year, or a period of years, I think it's healthy from time to time to think about how far you have come in your business. You know, all the time we focus on our business plans, our goals, strategies, where we're going with our business, and obviously the day-to-day challenges of running a business. But typically we're always looking forward. We never take time to look back. And when I say look back, I'm not talking about saying, gosh, I made a mistake, I did this, that, God, I wouldn't do that again. I'm talking about looking back maybe with a smile on your face. Think about how much you have accomplished. It's so easy to dwell on the negative, and so hard perhaps for many of us to look on the positive side. And I think it's healthy to look back with a smile, because many times if you do that, you can look forward to the challenges that you're going to face and feel much more certain and satisfied with them. So congratulations to all of you who took the step and opened your own business, whether you've been open a week or 50 years. Much success to you. And remember, always to take a minute from time to time, take a minute, look back with a smile. You're in the right place if you're a business owner, manager, or you're considering starting your own business, because the Weekly Business Hour is where Montgomery County comes to talk about the latest in business news, ideas to improve your business, and to hear from some of our own local business leaders on how they have found success right here in Montgomery County. First, let me remind you, we're on Facebook, so please take the time to like us on Facebook at the Weekly Business Hour, and that's where you can directly connect with all our shows. Now, let's check in on the business right here at Lone Star. Dick, what's on tap for Lone Star in the coming week?
I want to let your listeners know, following your show from now on will be East Montgomery County News. I know you probably caught the premiere episode last Monday, which is available on podcast now at irlonestar.com. Just want to remind them, Margie Taylor will be back after this show today, every Monday at noon on Lone Star Community Radio, covering everything in East Montgomery County.
Well, I think it's fantastic. If you didn't catch that show, remember it's on podcast. Keep up with what's happening in the east part of our county. Now we'll turn to the west, and particularly to the Woodlands. Our special studio guest today, Cherie Clark-Moore, lives and works in the Woodlands. Cherie, welcome to the show.
Thanks very much, Rick.
Well, let's talk about your business, Brainchild Parenting. I mean, even in the name, I just want to say, what is that? Tell us about it.
I do get asked that a lot. It's an intriguing name. But what we really do is provide resources and support for parents through seminars, courses, and events. So Brainchild Parenting is really a place to come and learn, meet other parents and families in the community, and share our experiences.
Well, we can tell from your accents you weren't born in the neighborhood. Give us a little bit of your background and kind of where did you come to the point of opening Brainchild Parenting?
Yeah, absolutely. I am not a local Texan. You probably picked that up. I was born and raised in Australia, and then through my husband's job, we've been traveling now for 13 years, actually. We've been in the Middle East for a long time. We spent a couple of years in Malaysia, and we've been in the States for almost 2 years now. So the idea for Brainchild Parenting came from my own experience as a parent. I prepared a lot for my pregnancy and for my birth, and it was all fantastic and exactly how I thought it would go. But I really gave no thought to what it meant to be a parent. I thought that was going to kind of be the easy part. So I fumbled along in the early days, waiting for some kind of magical parenting instinct to kick in. And I kind of found that I was listening to a lot of other people, their opinions, reading a lot of books, but I really didn't feel confident in the decisions I was making. I was making decisions based on what everyone else was thinking about their children. And I felt kind of uncomfortable and not confident. So I didn't know what else to do other than listen to people and read more books. But I found that parenting books, once I kind of learned a little bit more about parenting, I found that they were written by people such as nannies or night nurses. And really, they were there to solve a problem. They came in at a specific time. Let's say if, a child was having trouble sleeping, they would come in and they'd fix that problem, and they wouldn't really have the child's long-term interests at heart. So Brainchild Parenting was developed out of that. I learned a lot about child development and brain science and psychology of children. And I'm a very factual, kind of rational person. And once I learned those facts, I could make decisions based on something, and that gave me a lot more confidence, and the confidence allowed me to enjoy parenting a lot more. So that's what I really wanted to do, is create a business that gave people the confidence to make decisions in parenting, not tell them what to do. I'm not the kind of person who knows, I don't know anything about your family, your children, your values or your beliefs, but I can give you resources and help kind of facilitate your decision-making processes.
Well, let's kind of unpack that a little bit and walk through. I think it's interesting. So you discovered, like many parents, my wife and I included, that there was no guidebook or how-to book on raising children.
Absolutely.
And so all of a sudden, you look for advice, and what you found, really, you didn't feel told the whole story. Is that fair?
Yeah, it was. I think as a child, your only experience of parenting is the way that you were parented. You see other parents, but you don't really take any notice of what's going on. And then when you become a parent, you kind of default to that. So that's all you really know. And there's nothing wrong with the way that any of us were parented. I mean, we're all here, we're all successful, we're all alive, number one. But I also think expectations have changed. Times move on. We expect more from our children, and society expects more from our children as well. So it's time to kind of think about parenting a little bit differently.
Well, and what I get a sense of is, I looked at some of your material and talked to you prior to the show, is you're really an educator. I mean, you're educating me how to think, or you're not telling me, but you're educating me on how to be a better parent.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And it's not really about being better, it's being more informed. So when you make decisions, why do you make those decisions? Where do those decisions come from? So for me, just having knowledge is one part of it, but also self-awareness as a parent is the other side. We can learn as much as we want about kids and things like that, but we all know how much personally we bring into parenting. So I work a lot on that side as well. It's not just about the children, it's also about the parents.
Now, you've made a business out of it. I mean, your background in this was you had children.
That's one part.
And you started digging and
right.
looking for information. Now, teach us about how that evolved into a business.
Absolutely. Well, my background is actually in education. So I have an undergraduate and a postgraduate degree in education. So I've been in the education field for over 10 years. And through being a teacher and being a teacher trainer, I could really see the impact that parenting had on children's success. So that was my first taste of kind of parenting. And then when I became a parent, like I said, I had a pretty difficult time initially, and I really started to seek more knowledge. And once I learned a little bit, I went and did some certifications in the UK on advanced parenting courses. And I also did a certification here in the US on brain education. So now I'm a certified trainer in brain education. It really helped me be confident in the decisions that I was making.
And you took all that, which obviously now you've got formal education we're aware of, you've got hands-on experience, right, as a parent. Now you turn that into a business. Why a business?
Well, I think, you've heard the saying that it takes a village to raise a child. And I think in this day and age, we've lost that sense of village. You know, we may have family, we may not have family. And particularly in an area like the Woodlands and Montgomery County, there are a lot of people that have moved here for business opportunities and are away from their family, extended family. So I really wanted to be a resource for those people. So one of my missions through Brainchild Parenting is connecting people back together and sharing experiences and learning from that.
So basically you're creating a community, if you will, for parents.
Absolutely, yeah. I think parenting, particularly when you have really young children, can be very isolating. So if we don't kind of put ourselves out there and talk to other people, we can put a lot of pressure on ourselves and maybe feel that we're not being as successful as we want to be with our children. But as soon as we start sharing and talking and connecting, we realize we're all in this together. You know, we're all doing the best we can in this moment in time. So it's a great thing to be able to share those experiences and learn from others.
Well, you know, I've got to ask you, you obviously, in my opinion, have got a great concept here. How do you reach people? How do you make them aware that this is available to them?
Absolutely. That's, to be honest, been one of the biggest challenges of setting up this business is I think most people really have a perception that parenting classes are either court mandated or maybe they've seen things like Super Nanny and they only kind of see parenting classes as a solution to a problem. So I've been really working hard through the business to try and educate people that it's not really about that. Why wait till there's a problem? You know, let's start just having conversations. There's nothing wrong with that. Learn a little bit of knowledge, apply it in a way that's meaningful to you. And so that's what I do through my business.
Well, and I would think personally, looking back on my years, particularly in the early days, which is quite a ways back with younger children and babies, the ability to share with others, to have people share with me some of the things I'm feeling or seeing or feeling totally, no manual. So what am I going to do? Yeah. How do I do it right to give these kids a great start?
Absolutely. And I think that's the thing. You know, you look at any other job or profession, we have training and, you know, we read books or we go to certain certifications. And for parenting, we don't have that at all. So it's really nice to be able to share those experiences. And I'm not saying that you would copy what someone else is doing because obviously their child and your situation is very different to them. But gosh, you can learn a lot from sharing those experiences.
You know, one of the most important things you've told me today that I've learned already in the little bit of time we've spent together is that each of us in our parenting, raising our children, it's different. We're all different.
Absolutely.
And I think I find so many people in business and whatnot, it's a cookie cutter kind of thing, and that's not true, is it?
No, and that's one of the things I really strive for with Brainchild Parenting is, like I said, I feel my role is more of a facilitator. I provide knowledge, I provide a space for discussion, and I help parents figure out their thoughts and their ideas and, well, let's try this and come back and if that didn't work, let's try something else. So I really think it's, you know, you can't apply a one approach fits all kind of method to parenting. Yeah. And especially even between children. I'm sure you know that experience as well, Rick. Every child that you have has a different personality. As much as we like to be consistent as parents, we still have to parent to the individual.
Yeah, well, I think you've made some very important points this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our first break. I hope you will stay with us. When we come back, we're going to visit with Cherie a little bit more and talk about some of the challenges that she has in running her business day to day. So please stay with us.
The Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service has been dedicated to educating Texans for over a century. In 1915, the Extension Program was established under the federal Smith-Lever Act to deliver university knowledge and agricultural research findings directly to the people. Ever since, AgriLife Extension programs have addressed the emerging issues of the day, serving diverse populations across the state. Texans turn to Extension for solutions in horticulture, agriculture, 4-H and youth, and family and consumer sciences. Extension agents respond not only with answers, but also with resources and services that result in significant returns on investment to boost the economy. Join us Fridays at 1 o'clock for the AgriLife Extension Hour.
If you are looking to start a career, you can start your professional life in the U.S. Army. I am Staff Sergeant Stephen Jackson. My fellow soldiers and I can talk with you about learning high-tech skills in electronics and computers as a soldier. Interested in the medical field? The Army has skilled medical and dental jobs that set you up for future success. Come visit us at 2109 West Davis Street, directly behind the Whataburger on Highway 105, or give us a call at 756-7002.
Taylorized PR works exclusively to get your business noticed. Public relations is how others perceive you and your company. By tailorizing the marketing strategy exclusively to your business, your story is told. Taylorized PR services include networking, social media, blogs, press releases, public appearances, and event planning. To learn about Taylorized PR, call Margie Taylor at 936-828-6881 or visit the website at taylorizedpr.com. My business is tailored to yours.
Are you interested in learning more about preparing quick, healthy, and safe meals for your family? Would you like to spend time with others learning tips and tricks, along with practicing and tasting nutritious food? If so, the On the Road to Healthy Living Mobile Cooking School is for you. Call Amy Ressler at Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service at 936-539-7825 to find a class near you or volunteer to host a class.
This is Rick Schissler, your Silver Fox advisor and host of the Weekly Business Hour. And I appreciate you joining us today. And we are in the middle of an interview with Cherie Clark-Moore, the founder of Brainchild Parenting. And Cherie, we've talked a little bit about what Brainchild Parenting is about. But at the end of the day, it's a business. And our listeners typically are business people or people who are thinking about starting their own business. And one of the things that people always ask me is, well, if I start this business, I'm going to have challenges, and it's not a smooth road. It's a bumpy road, and I always try to be real clear about it. But you can prepare for that. What are some of the challenges, or the biggest challenge you face day to day in running your particular business?
Mm-hmm. I was thinking about this prior to coming here today, and I can see two challenges that I faced really when I started up this business. One was putting a price on my services. Was a very difficult thing for me to do. What I do is unusual. It's a professional service. It's not a tangible product, and it's not common what I do. So really trying to work out my value was a hard thing for me to do. And then the other one, again, was educating people on why my services are valuable. So that in itself has been a mission, and it's ongoing. It keeps, it's something now that my name is getting a little bit more out in the community. It's becoming a bit easier. People are more familiar. They've joined my events, taken my courses, things like that. So word of mouth is really playing off for me now. But initially it was that education piece that was really difficult. One of the other things that I find hard is literally virtual space, trying to find a space that we can bring people together. Rent costs are quite high. Trying to find something that's going to suit everyone has been quite difficult as well. So I've been pretty flexible with the arrangements that I make with that, whether that be in my clients' homes, whether that be in my home, whether that be in office spaces that I use. So just having to adjust these things has been a real challenge, but we're kind of getting there.
Well, it's interesting because basically the way I see that, you talk about location for the business, which is a common challenge. Where do I locate? Do I work out of my home? Do I rent office space? How am I going to accommodate growth, or in your case, an audience of people? You talked about how do I market myself? How do I educate the public about what I do? Marketing, probably the number one challenge for every small business particularly. And then you talked about initially in your business of, some of the things you thought about pricing, which I find in the top 5, based on my experience, challenges at small business. So you're right in the middle of the thick of it of any and every kind of business I've ever been around. When you talk about pricing, I think though that you mentioned something, and I want to be sure people hear it. It's determining value.
Absolutely,
and that applies. I think even if you're buying a product and reselling it or manufacturing, there are formulas that you can, but you still need to determine the value of that product to the public, to the people that are going to buy it.
Absolutely.
How did you finally determine the value, if you can share that with us?
Yeah, it took.
And it's ongoing, and I understand.
Absolutely. It took quite a while to kind of find a formula, so to speak, on how to do that. So initially, I based my pricing on other models. So, for example, when I did my certification through the UK, other people were teaching similar courses. So I looked at pricing in the UK, and I translated it here to the US. However, what I found out is that parenting classes and parenting education is a lot more common concept in the UK, and they're a bit more of a socialised country than the US, so their pricing was quite low. And what I found here is when I set my prices to that, people didn't really value the service. So that was an interesting thing for me to go through, because I've always been kind of a very giving person. That's why I started my business. So learning that lesson that, okay, cheaper is not necessarily better. So then I had to kind of look at the actual value that people would gain from my services. And so I think we're kind of working towards the right kind of goals at the moment.
Well, it sounds like you're headed down the right road. Many people, again, look for formulas that are hard and fast, and there really isn't. It's value, and what you can determine your value. And I love your example. I was too low.
Yeah.
Because I didn't create enough value, and that's not uncommon. And I've seen people even stick with that, and I keep saying, hey, it's worth more, and showing them some of the experiences I've had. I'd rather sell less but at a better price, because I'll do a better job with what I can handle.
And I think it was also a reflection on myself, Rick. I had to find value in myself, which was really interesting process to go through. What I know and what I share and what I do is a valuable service. I think before I didn't really attach financial rewards to that service. So it was a different process to go through.
So a little bit of inward looking as well.
Absolutely.
That's cool. Well, back to the second thing you mentioned, I wanted to touch on again, it was the marketing, or as you called education. Marketing, again, I believe, and my experience has taught me, is the number one challenge of every small business. How do I make people aware? How do I create the atmosphere where they want to buy? How did you eventually, you work through referrals, which is a methodology, a way to advertise, but how did you create that value proposition?
Absolutely. Well, what I found I had to do is I had to put myself out there. People had to know me and not just my business name or my brand, because what I do is a very personal thing. When we're talking about families and values and beliefs, you really want to trust that person. So my marketing strategy is building trust. So I've done a lot of video content, for example. I've hosted a lot of events so that people actually see me face to face, free education events, things like that. And they're successful strategies for what I do.
So the trust building, which I think is one of the keystones to building your marketing for any business, is building trust. And again, you're in a very sensitive area. I consider it sensitive, being parenting, in an area that a lot of people are vested in. Plus a lot of area that, again, we don't know what we're doing. So that's a very big challenge for marketing. Well, let me ask you, now you deliver your services through classes, seminars, and so on and so forth. Do you have a formula to that? Do I come to a seminar, then go to a class, or is it just whatever I feel that it makes sense for me?
Yeah, it's basically whatever makes sense for you. But I find in general what usually happens is people will come along to my events or come and listen to a seminar that I'm giving, and then they'll want to know a little bit more. They can see the value of it. So then they'll book onto a course which is kind of specific for where they are in their stage of parenting.
One of the things that we talk about on this show quite a bit, particularly in the final segment, and I'm a big believer, is the work-life balance. A lot of that is due to the fact that I was someone who just worked all the time, because I grew up in business and we were a retail service 6 days a week. But it was just taking care of the client was just right out there every day, customer every day. And that's really the business you're kind of talking. Your program directly addresses this issue. How can one balance work life, family life? How do they do it?
Yeah, it's a pretty tough thing to do, absolutely. So one of the seminars that I do for businesses is work-life balance. And it's really tough to manage it all. If you look at your job description professionally and then look at your job description as a parent. I did an exercise the other day on exactly this, and I asked a group of parents, all right, well, what should we put up for our roles and responsibilities? And we had everything from teacher to doctor to, giver of happiness and making sure we protect innocence. It's a massive spectrum of things that we do. And I think sometimes all of this can feel incredibly overwhelming. So for me, some of the things that I would recommend for work-life balance is just have a little bit of a mindset of focusing on long-term goals. I think as a parent, and sometimes in the jobs that we have tasks that we have to achieve, check them off, checklists, things like that. And parenting can sometimes be a little bit like that, but if we think a little bit more long-term, it gives us a bit of space. and it helps us get our priorities right. So rather than focusing on the minute-to-minute details, let's focus a little bit on, 5 years from now, 20 years from now. What do we want to see in our kids as they become adults? So that's one strategy, focusing on long-term goals. The other one that I think is incredibly crucial for working parents in particular is self-care. And we definitely do not prioritize this enough, and I'm guilty of this myself. But if we don't look after ourselves, how can we possibly be good at not only our professional life, but more importantly, in our family life? And sometimes we put that on the back burner because we feel it's our responsibility to meet everyone else's needs, whether that be our boss's needs and our children's needs. But if we don't do the self-care, not only are we not looking after ourselves and not becoming great parents, but we're not setting a great example for our kids either. We don't want our kids to be jumping at everyone's beck and call and forget about themselves. So self-care is crucial if you want to try and meet that work-life balance.
One of the things you did is I looked through the materials, and I'm going to ask you to kind of give us what you've given a lot of great advice today. But one of the things I thought was kind of fit in the role or how society is today, the 5 best ways to do this, that. But you have 3 tips for being a happy, confident parent. Do you mind sharing those with us?
Absolutely. So I thought about this one too. The first one for me, and this made a big difference in my own parenting, and I think a lot of people can relate to this, is seeking knowledge. There's a lot of knowledge out there. There's a lot of books, there's a lot of courses, a lot of people telling you what to do. But just having a basic knowledge of child development, both physical and psychological, can give you a lot of confidence in the decisions that you make. If you understand that your child is actually not capable of something because of the development of their brain, then you won't expect that of them. So then you're not going to be frustrated when they don't meet that expectation. One of the other things is evaluating our expectations, and that's what I was talking about before between the work-life balance. We have so many expectations of ourselves, and we expect ourselves to meet these 100% of the time. So if we can look at our expectations, number one, are they realistic? And number two, do they have to be taken care of now? Again, that helps us adjust. And if we can let go of some of those things, suddenly we feel a lot happier. There's a bit more space in our lives, and we can become a lot happier. Like I mentioned before, long-term goals is something as well that I really think helps us kind of create that space and become happier people. If we can focus on the long term and not worry about the minute details, it opens up a little bit of space and happiness in our lives. And the last one, I know you asked for 3, but I'm going to give you 4, is self-care, what I was saying about before, and self-awareness. If things aren't going great, acknowledge that. Be easy on yourself. Give yourself a little bit of space to recover and feel a bit better about ourselves. They'd be my 4 tips.
Well, those are wonderful tips, in my opinion. Again, I speak with some experience, having helped raise 6 children and a bunch of grandchildren that's another story. But I deeply appreciate, Cherie, you taking time to come in today and share your business story as well as some of the content of what you do. And the work-life balance in particular. If people want to reach out and contact you, what's the best way for them to do it?
Absolutely. My website is probably the best way to do it. It's www.brainchildparenting.com, and my email is cherie@brainchildparenting.com.
Well, Cherie, I really appreciate it. Wish you much success in your business. Ladies and gentlemen, that ends this segment. Please stay with us. We're going to have some news and some thoughts and some discussions that I hope you can use in your business today. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Doing business since 1985, Assistance League of Montgomery County is a nonprofit, all-volunteer organization where all proceeds stay in Montgomery County. We are proud to sponsor 10 philanthropic programs that enhance the lives of those in our community. Visit our thrift shop at 126 North San Jacinto Street in downtown Conroe, or call us at 936-760-1151. Don't forget to like us on Facebook.
Are you planning on growing, expanding, or possibly selling your business? All of these business opportunities require developing strategies and setting goals in order to achieve success. Providing specialized consulting in these and other key business decisions is what Silver Fox Advisors have been doing since 1986. Let us help you today. Call us at 713-343-3718 It might be the most profitable call that you ever make.
Hi, I'm Mike Sasser, your host of the Health Hour right here on Lone Star Community Radio. I'd like to invite you to tune in to my live show each Wednesday starting at 1 p.m. I like to say it's an hour of health news you can use. Be a part of the conversation by going to MikeSasser.com and clicking on Contact Mike for my email, Facebook, and Twitter links. The Health Hour with Mike Sasser every Wednesday at 1 p.m. on Lone Star Community Radio, your local source for healthy living.
Lone Star Community Radio is FM. That's right. Set your radio dials and your button presets to Conroe's FM 104.5 and 106.1, coming in June of 2016. To celebrate this edition and the addition of video versions of our talk and music shows on YouTube, cable TV, and Our City TV, we are offering special sponsorships rates, which include free audio spots that are played throughout our broadcast. Interested? Check out our sponsor rates for shows just like the one you're listening to online at irlonestar.com/sponsor, or call the station at 936-647-5747. Reaching the people of Montgomery County with Montgomery County's community radio station with Lone Star Community Radio.
Running a business is hard. The pressure to maximize profits and minimize loss continue to grow. Schooley Mitchell of Houston can help. Their independent consultants will ensure you are receiving the best communications and credit card processing services at the best prices. Most importantly, their services are completely risk-free. If they don't find savings for you, there is no fee. Contact Schooley Mitchell of Houston today to find out. Call 832-314-1815 or visit their website at schooleymitchell.com/JM-Polio.
The East Texas Dream Center is in need of your help. We are a nonprofit Christian organization that houses women and children who are trying to get their lives back after being homeless, abused, or addicted. We are conveniently located at 301 South 1st Street, Conroe, Texas, 77301, right here in Montgomery County. Our needs are financial and every needs of gasoline, cleaning supplies, laundry soap, Lysol, and whatever else God puts in your heart. To help our ladies and children, please consider a donation. You may visit our website at www.easttexasdreamcenter.org. Again, so you don't forget, it's www.easttexasdreamcenter.org. Donations are tax deductible. Remember what Jesus said, with God, nothing is impossible.
You are listening to the Weekly Business Hour, and this is Rick Schissler, your Silver Fox advisor and host of the Weekly Business Hour. Well, I appreciate you joining us today. We just had a wonderful interview with Cherie Clark-Moore, the founder and owner of Brainchild Parenting. Remember, if you missed the interview, that there will be a podcast available in a couple days. Just go online to irlonestar.com and click on the Weekly Business Show, and it'll be available to you. Or you can like us on Facebook. The Weekly Business Hour has its own page, and the show will be posted there as well. Well, this part of the show, typically we talk about some thoughts and business news that you might use in your business today, looking for relevant topics and thoughts that you could use this information, hopefully, today. The first one I have for you is a news item. It's a reminder, in fact. Have you updated your credit card processing equipment? Now, I'm having a hard time not putting my preacher hat on today, I'll be honest with you. Because we talked about this last fall. We actually talked about it when I look back in the records almost a year ago this month, warning you about what was coming if you take credit cards in your business. The world has changed a great deal out there, and the credit card industry was able to get the rules changed where you as a merchant, if you don't follow their processing procedure, then you will take the liability of any misuse of a credit card. Well, let's see what the score. This all took place effective in October, and this morning's Wall Street Journal in the money and investing section had a great article. Merchants take hit in chip card shift. That sort of sums it up. Those who did not change their credit card processing are taking a true hit for losses. They're taking chargeback. Little story within the story about a woman using a counterfeit credit card to buy $400 worth of gift cards at a grocery store. And then she went to 9 other stores. It was a small chain. $4,000 she ran up. In the past, the credit card processor, Visa, MasterCard, whoever, would take that hit. The rules have changed. Again, the grocery store took the $4,000 hit. Now, the grocery store has been in the process of updating their 80-some stores in Arkansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, and Kansas, but they haven't quite got there. So for now, they get a chance to write the check, so to speak, for the $4,000 that was scammed by this person who had a fraudulent card. Again, warning to you, update your equipment, get with your processor. There's some wonderful people out there that will work with you. And let me give you some quick statistics that were in the article so you don't feel lonely if you haven't made the change. It says only 22% of the retailers can currently process these chip cards. You know, the chip card is at the heart of this change. It's where the credit card has a chip on it. I carry 2 credit cards, one for business, one personal, and oddly enough, only one of the cards has the chip. So the people that actually manufacture, the processor, the credit card companies, and deliver these cards to the users are behind as well. This was a monumental changeover, folks. So I can understand how some people are slow out of the chute, so to speak, to get it done. But the bottom line is, if you've been slow to change your business over to accepting the chip card, you're going to pay a price. It said in the article further, an additional 53% of the merchants surveyed plan to install the systems within the next 12 months. Well, I'll suggest you, because there's a cost involved. So it's another reason people have been a little slow, and I understand it. But reality, if you're going to take a credit card, you better learn to play by their rules, because otherwise you're going to get dinged. Another story in this article was about a small liquor store chain where 2 customers spent $800 on buying 4 bottles of Johnny Walker Blue Scotch, and they were purchased with 3 counterfeit cards. And that meant the liquor store owner, Mr. Knightley, was on the hook for $800. He felt it was unfair. It wasn't his fault. The bottom line is we can't establish fault. The fact is the industry that controls us taking credit cards in our business has mandated that we make this change. Of course, the feeling is that the chip cards will be safer. They'll be less easy. It'll be harder, if you will, for those who are seeking to defraud the merchant, defraud the credit card company, to do so with a chip-based card. Bottom line, the burden's on you to make the change. I encourage you, as your weekly business hour host and Silver Fox advisor, and also today, if you will, as your preacher, I'm preaching to you, make the change if you're going to continue to take credit cards. Next item I have is an article that I read. I spent quite a bit of my career interested in the idea of interviewing and hiring the right people for the right job. So I have a personal interest, if you will. I'm always curious of how to do a better job when I hire people, because as you know, hiring is basically finding the right person for the right job. You don't want a square peg in a round hole, or vice versa. That's the bottom line. So part of interviewing is, unlike some of my clients who feel, well, I'm just screening off bad people that don't want to work, people that have poor work histories. Obviously, that's part of the process. But the main part of the process is hiring the right person. And I think in order to do that, yes, there's testing available, and some, we used to do polygraphs for honesty. There are things like that, but those are only tools. And those tools can really, or should really, only confirm what you as the interviewer have gleaned yourself from the interview. And I came across an interesting question and some of the things that could be gleaned by it. And I want to share it with you because I think it's pretty darn good. The question is, what single task or improvement would you consider the most significant accomplishment in your career so far? I'll repeat that. What single task or improvement, meaning, I guess, self-improvement, would you consider the most significant accomplishment in your career so far? Now, that's the basic question. And you get an answer for that, and there's some follow-ups to it. And I think this is real important. I found this very interesting. Tell me about the company you work for, what your position was, if you had a title, what your role was, and were you working with other people. Let's talk about it. The point is, we're trying to dig down, trying to drill down into how this individual that's sitting across the table from us approached their job, what they thought about their job, what they even think about working. I mean, it's amazing if you work with this. What were the actual results you achieved? Did you improve yourself? Did you accomplish the task that you were given? What happened? When did it take place? How far back in your history? How long did it take you to do this? This is important questions. I mean, it's pretty darn straightforward. What were the 3 or 4 biggest challenges you faced? And how did you deal with them? You know, that's one of the things in hiring good people for whatever the position you're trying to fill is their ability to face challenges and to handle the challenges that come their way. Because every job, regardless if it's just a cashier or somebody answering a phone, there are going to be unusual circumstances. They're going to pop up. And their ability to handle those are going to directly reflect on you, your business, the other people who work there, because it's typically going to be an interaction with a customer. Sometimes a vendor, sometimes a service person, but usually it's going to be a customer. So you want someone that has some ability to know how to work with people, how to deal with people. So what were the 3 to 4 biggest challenges you faced in accomplishing this task and improving yourself? So that question comes out. Describe the environment and resources you worked in. In other words, what was the kind of work environment that you worked in? What resources were there? Did you have the right tools to work with? You're looking to see how resourceful they are and how flexible they are in solving problems, in solving issues, and working day to day. Describe your boss's style and whether you liked it or not. I mean, to me, that's a natural question. What kind of style do you like to work at? What kind of conditions do you like to work on? That's a question I've asked for years, trying to get the person to open up and tell me what kind of style they work best in. A lot of people don't really open up to that. They don't want to foreclose the possibility they might be considered for the job. But it's important to know what kind of environment really motivates people. What are some of the biggest mistakes you made while you were working on this task or improvement? I think it's a question that really gets down deep into a person and their ability to be a good employee. Because you're going to find if you don't already ask these kind of questions, many respondents are very hesitant. They don't know what to say. When you ask, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses? Typically, I'll get a bunch of strengths, but I get very few weaknesses. And when I get people that are willing to admit their weaknesses and talk honestly with me about it, and I feel that, then that's a big check mark towards them being qualified, at least to have a job, maybe not the particular job I have, but someone I would want to work with. How you managed and influenced others. Give me some examples of how you worked with other people at the company. How did you influence them? Did you manage them if you were in a managed supervisory role? How did you do it? What's your style? But the key thing here is how I influence people, how I got along with people. And again, if you're talking to someone for a lower or entry-level job, sometimes you got to kind of modify that question a little bit. Tell me about times you've worked with people to accomplish something. Could have even been in school if this is their first real paying job. Working in school, working with family, working in people at church or something like that. It's important to understand how people will work with others as you bring them into your company. And last but not least, what would you do differently if you could do this task or this improvement? What would you do differently if you could do it again? Check it out and see if they really are in a self-improvement mode. They really want to improve. They really want a career. Maybe your job is not the last one on the ladder, but it should be one step. And it's very important that you look at the interview process, as a whole, and fully accept and recognize that you, the person doing the interview, or if you have multiple people preferably doing an interview, are the keys to success, not only for you hiring the right person, but putting that person in the right job. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of this segment. Please stay with us. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about perfect marketing strategy, kind of a different take on marketing. I hope you'll enjoy it. So please stay with us, and we'll be right back with you.
Heaven's Army of Resources and Recreation Center is a 501c3 nonprofit organization featuring a 10,000 square foot building located at 19325 FM 1485 West, New Caney, Texas. At Heaven's Army, we offer over 26 different services free for all ages, from karate, dance, drug and alcohol classes, anger management, parenting, food and clothing pantries, to just name a few. We are supported solely by volunteers and private donations. Our main mission is to glorify God in all that we do. At Heaven's Army, we strive to be a hand up, not a handout. Come check us out at 19325 FM 1485 West, New Caney, Texas, or call for more information at 281-689-5864. You may also learn more about Heaven's Army by visiting our website at heavensarmyofresources.com.
Are you paying too much for your personal or business insurance? Patricia Cooper Insurance on FM 1488 and Tamina Road is an independent agency that can shop multiple carriers to find the best rates and coverages to fit your specific needs. Call us today at 281-356-9955 and let us go to work for you. Patricia Cooper Insurance, where our customers are treated like family.
I'm Lieutenant Bob Berry with the Conroe Police Department, reminding you that texting and talking on the phone while driving are not only dangerous, but also illegal in school zones and other posted areas. Drive safely and alert.
Howdy, howdy, folks. Cable Smith, host of the Lone Star Outdoors Show, inviting you to join me Saturday mornings from 7 to 8 on Lone Star Internet Radio for Texas' premier hunting, fishing, and outdoor talk show. So pour yourself another cup of coffee and pull up that stool a little closer to the old campfire, because if you can catch it or kill it in Texas, we're going to talk about it. That's right. Bucks and ducks, gobblers, monster bass, redfish, trout, and a whole lot more. Plus, you never know what outdoor celebrity is going to drop by, from Phil the Duck Commander Robertson to fishing legend Bill Dance or everybody's favorite uncle Ted Nugent. Heck, we might even mix in an interview and hear some brand spanking new Texas music from one of your favorite Texas musicians like Robert Earl Keen, Brandon Ryder, or the honky-tonk kid himself, Aaron Watson. Loved or hated but never ignored, it's the Lone Star Outdoors Show with me, Cable Smith, Saturday mornings from 7 to 8 right here on Lone Star Internet Radio on irlonestar.com.
This is Rick Schissler, your Silver Fox advisor and host of the Weekly Business Hour. Welcome back as we enter our final segment of today's show. I want to remind you that Lone Star Community Radio will soon be available at FM 104.5 and 106.1 on your radio dial. So keep tuned in. Remember, we will be offering you, the listener, both a tune-in and internet radio station. So keep an eye on this. Hopefully in the next several weeks we'll go live on FM. Silver Fox Advisor Tip of the Week, one of my favorite parts of the show. This week, I'd like to talk about the perfect marketing strategy. Now, we've had a lot of discussion on this show and a lot of discussion out there in the various medias about marketing. In fact, in our special studio guest today, Cherie Clark-Moore, she listed as one of the 3 biggest challenges in starting her business was how to educate, how to market her business. And I think that's true for all of us. In fact, I said on the show, marketing is the biggest challenge, I think, on average, that every small business has, particularly when they start the business and even as they develop the business and the business begins to mature. I want to give you a little bit different angle or take on marketing and give you hopefully some things to ponder and think about in your marketing strategy, whether you're starting a business or you're mature, your business has been there for several years or a number of years, to think about your marketing that might help you tune it up and get a little bit more out of it. A series of questions to ask yourself about your marketing. It's kind of like putting yourself in the seat of a potential client or customer, a prospective customer seat, but also keeping your business owner, your business hat on at the same time. How does this business serve a higher purpose for you as a business owner and your customers? Question is, how does this business serve a higher purpose for you and your customers? I think that's a great place to start when you evaluate your marketing. I recognize this is not the old black and white, heads up, textbook kind of information you look for in developing a marketing plan, but I think these are the kind of things you kind of do in the margins, if you will, is you try to evaluate what your business is actually doing. And this assumes you don't have a marketing expert available to yourself, because those kind of people should help you through this process. And if they don't, encourage them to. But determine what your business, why is your business there, and what higher purpose does it serve? Many times we'll find our business, well, we're just ABC, 1, 2, 3, and we really haven't thought through what higher purpose our business serves for ourselves and our customers. Get an answer or two to that question, and I can assure you, you will take your marketing up a notch or two where it is. Second question I'd like to touch on today is, what value do you really bring that benefits your market in ways that your competitors would not dream of doing? I'll repeat it again. What value do you really bring that benefits your market in ways that your competitors wouldn't dream of? Now, obviously, the idea here is to make yourself stand out in the crowd of competitors. But you've got to step back and you've got to say, now, what value am I bringing, or could I bring to my business that would make me stand out in the minds of potential customers and my existing customers? Again, an answer to that kind of question and the kind of adjustments or things that you would do in your marketing, your actual marketing and advertising, will take your plan, your marketing up a notch or two. Determine what you could do that makes you different. And it has to be a difference that people can relate to, that they can see, that you can talk about in your marketing in order for it to be effective. Next question. What's the dominant personality trait that you need your customers to associate with your business? Now we're talking about personalities. You say, wait a minute, what does that got to do with my business? Well, what is the personality trait? What kind of clients? I mean, all of us have heard about client or customer profiles. What kind of customers are you looking for? Who are they? Where do they come from? I mean, we can load that up with data and information, age, sex, background, neighborhood, whatever. But here is drilling down, I think, to a whole different level, if you will. It's a personality trait. Try to figure out what personality trait. In other words, why are they coming to my business? What kind of people are these? What's driving them here? It's not the fact that they're 34 and they're married and have 3 kids. Yeah, those kind of statistics, that kind of data can come out. But really, what kind of personality are the kind of people generally that I'm dealing with? And you will deal with a multitude of personalities, no doubt. But if you can zero in on 1 or 2 personality traits that kind of covers a majority of your clients, think about the value of that. Because then you turn around and build your marketing plan and your advertising plan, and you zero in and direct it at those kinds of personalities. It can even be the tone or the attitude of your marketing. If you've got people that are aggressive, type A personalities, they like the quick come and go, then design your marketing. And let me assure you that it will work even better. And the last question is the one that I've kind of been talking about. What does the ideal client look like? If you haven't already done that one, then you need to stop today on your marketing. Because to me, that's the first step in building any marketing plan, is what does the ideal customer look like? Because how in the heck am I going to sell anything? How am I going to market anything if I don't know what my ideal customer looks like? What's their profile? So a little encouragement, the perfect marketing strategy. Take your marketing strategy up a notch or two above your competitors, and the success will come rolling in. Share a quote with you real quick. You are what you think. So just think big, believe big, act big, work big, give big, forgive big, laugh big, love big, and by all means, live big. That's from Andrew Carnegie, who's a great industrialist and philanthropist. He made millions and millions of dollars, and he gave away millions. So think big, be big, and be successful. I encourage you to visit our website at irlonestar.com to stay up on everything happening in Montgomery County. As we close the show today, I want to give a big Lone Star thanks to our sponsors, Patricia Cooper Insurance, Schooley Mitchell, Taylorized PR, and the Silver Fox Advisors. Please put a note on your calendar to join us again next Monday right here on irlonestar.com at 11 a.m. Until then, stay engaged this week. Keep your focus on what counts in your business. And if you've got a few minutes, stick around for Margie Taylor and the East Montgomery County News Program.
Thanks for checking out this production on Lone Star Community Radio, Montgomery County's radio station. For more information on this show and other shows on Lone Star, check us out online at irlonestar.com. If you're interested in sponsoring a program on Lone Star Community Radio and reaching the local audience of Montgomery County on FM, internet, and TV media, please call 936-647-5747 or contact us online at irlonestar.com. This recording is a Lone Star Community Radio production, produced by the show host and Rick Schissler of Lone Star Community Radio. Interested in volunteering as a music DJ or starting your own talk show? Contact Rick Schissler at dick@irlonestar.com or by phone at 936-647-5747.